Thank you for joining us for this segment of Notable People with your host, Andrea Schwartz, where we introduce you to some notable people making significant contributions toward furthering the kingdom of Christ.
Today on Notable People, I have the pleasure of talking with a friend. This is a man I met years ago, and I have been blessed to watch how God has used his talent and his vision to further the kingdom of God. My guest today is Colin Gunn. Colin is the father of 7. He heads a homeschooling family. He and his wife have been married 10 years, and Colin has ventured into, in the last 10 years or so, into the area of Christian filmmaking, and 2 of his previous works won prizes at the San Antonio Independent Film Festival, and he is currently working on another project which will be a primary focus of our discussion today. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you for having me on your show. I've been looking forward to talking to you again.
So tell us, Colin, what your latest project is, why you decided to tackle this particular issue, and the progress of where it is now in its state of release.
Well, when we make our independent documentaries, we only have so much time and only so much money. Our motivation is to do something for the Lord and His kingdom, and I believe the priority for us as Christians is the subject of education. So this is our focus right now, and in fact, the movie that we are making right now is called IndoctriNation, and it's about how America's public schools have ruined America, have ruined families, have ruined American culture. And this is our argument. We are arguing for people to leave the public schools immediately, and we're going to give them 101 reasons in our movie to do that. There's plenty ammunition that we have. It's interesting in our political climate right now that this is an issue that's starting to become of interest to a lot of people. So we want to make it clear that for all the stuff that is going on in our culture right now, and we're seeing a greater antithesis, but the solution isn't in all the small victories that conservatives are seeking. The big victory for us would be for Christians to start to take the issue of education seriously. In Scotland, they will have some religious education in schools, but, of course, the religious education aspect is just tacked on the end and is pretty weak. I went to both public schools or state schools in Scotland, we call them, and then after a few years, I started going to a private Christian school. So I got to see in my youth the big contrast between state education and private education.
So you really do have a perspective in terms of public education and its fullest in a socialistic country where the politics were socialistic.
I think it was a privilege. There's a clarity there when you have experienced both of them. I think that does help me a little bit.
You entitle your documentary IndoctriNation, and in the title, nation is in capital letters to make it very obvious from the get-go that you're saying that state schools do not have as their purpose education in the definition of preparing somebody for usefulness in life, but your thesis is that the point is indoctrination.
Yes, and indoctrination can be used, I guess, in a positive way as well. We do believe that we should indoctrinate our children in a sense, i.e. inculcate a doctrine in their hearts. But what we see, obviously, in state education is that the doctrine that is being put in the hearts of those that go through that system is there to make them worship the state, to create secular humanistic statists, and that has been a huge success for them. I mean, we have seen them demolish the church largely, I would argue, through that method. It's not exclusively the only thing that's caused the problems in our church or in our culture, but it's a significant one when we see 90% or 9 out of 10 children walk away from the faith largely through the influence of the public school system, that a continual and repetitive and foundational demolishing of Christian ethics. It's interesting that we can sort of persuade people. I think this is why documentary filmmaking is good. You have to put things in front of people's eyes these days, and that's why I'm dedicating my life to it. When you talk about filmmaking and you start doing filmmaking, you don't realize the depth of decision making that you have to do. There's so many different types of movie you can make, even in the documentary world. Of course, as Christians, we can't pretend we're neutral. For Christians, our philosophy is that we have to be clear about our presuppositions, and we have to make it clear that we're not just neutral in finding out the facts. We're not going out and saying, are public schools good or are they bad? And it's funny how many people have asked us to make that kind of documentary. That's what they think a documentary like this would be, and that's how people are going to be convinced, because we have to pretend we're neutral, and we're not neutral. We start with the Bible, and of course the Bible's clear in education that it's in the domain of the family and not in the domain of the state. We were really learning about storytelling. Storytelling is now our focus for indoctrination. And that's where I believe the strength of documentary films will follow a narrative to a sense and will be more scripted. Not in the sense that we make people say things that they won't say, but we kind of know the direction of the movie and the beats of the movie and the heart of the movie through a lot of pre-planning. And so for indoctrination, we're following a narrative, and we're also borrowing a motif from movies, or a genre of movies called the road trip movie. We'll go to places like Columbine and New Harmony and Boston and quite a few other places just to explore those questions. And as we go along the way, we will have many interviews with people that are experts and also many people that aren't, and people that just have stories to tell about their relationship with public education. The last two movies we've made were self-funded, pretty much just from, leftovers from the grocery budget. Now we have a bigger project that we do need some help with, and so we are looking for sponsors, but there is a way that the ordinary person can help us, and one of the ways we're doing that is through a backstage pass for our movie. And by buying the backstage pass, which is only $50, you will actually get a DVD, so you'll get the movie itself. You will also get access to all of our interview footage. These interviews are from some of the giants of the faith in America. We have Samuel Blumenfeld, Doug Phillips, Herb Titus, Gary North, and a bunch of other guys who are just, top-notch experts. Their teaching is superb, and so we're putting up those a little bit edited, but just, pretty much the whole content of the interview. So we're putting that up there. You also get Monstrous Regiment and Shaky Town as a download for free, and we're going to be sort of documenting as we go on the road. We'll be putting up some producer footage as well, which is myself and my other producer, Joaquin Fernandez, who's working on this project with me. So the backstage pass is a real way to help us. All the money that we get from that goes directly into our expenses, which would be things like the bus or gas for the bus or equipment or things we need to buy on the road. Those are the sort of things that we need that have made this project out of our range in terms of our own budget. So that would be a great way to gift us and help us. We are looking for ministry sponsors as well, and we can talk to anyone who'd be interested in having advertising in the movie, at the front of the movie or on the bus itself. So that's another area that people might be interested in. Go to IndoctriNationMovie.com, and the backstage is up there. But if you want to get in touch with me personally, you can email me at colin@colingunn.com.
What's your anticipated completion date for it?
We're looking probably closer to the end of the year. We have to get on the road this summer, and we're still under budget in terms of being able to get on the road. And we'll put more information about the needs up on the website soon. So we're still heading towards that goal of being on the road probably in July, maybe August, and then post-production can be difficult to predict in terms of how we want it to look. But we're looking more likely the end of the year as the completion date.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for spending some time today. I always enjoy speaking with you because of what you have to say, but I love your voice and I love listening to you. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in the movie as well.
That's great. Thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome. God bless.
God bless. Bye-bye.